It's Operation Babble with Myke Shrews. It's pop culture, music, movies, TV too. It's time to explore life. It's Operation Babble time.
Boom.
Boom. What was that, Inception? What are we doing here? War of the Worlds? It's the tripods. No. Boom.
Boom.
Oh, man. So what? Wait. So
we were getting into
talking
a conversation before we started.
Yes.
And then we were like,
yeah.
let's hit record and get this shit on.
If you can't tell, Michael and I are feeling a little beat up. I think it might be the weather. I think that's a lot of it.
I'm
for me
tired.
Anyway.
I'm tired as fuck.
I'm a tired man. I'm with you. And it's like been like super cold and shitty. Like we're talking like negative like 30-degree wind chills up here.
Yeah.
And so like
We're talking like 30 degrees here.
yeah. Oh, dude, everybody like on the internet from Florida is like 33 degrees. This is awful. How do people live like
I love
this?
it because I can actually wear a fucking hoodie and some
Right?
jeans once in a while.
and not sweat to death.
Right? Like, I can go to bed with a t-shirt on and I'm not waking up drenched in sweat in the middle of the night. It's awesome.
Well, that's. I'll leave that alone. There was so many places I could go. So what? So yeah. So we were, like, obviously,
You're going over,
we were lamenting
yeah.
about Crisis, and granted, we don't want to probably go too long just because we had 2 long podcasts about it. But
And don't worry, this isn't going to be a massive segment, guys. We're just talking real quick to bring up some other shit.
not even gonna play the song.
Yeah.
What
the fuck, CW? What the fucks?
But what the fuck? So you know, obviously you could tell like my I did not receive the Crisis very well. I still
You didn't take the crisis information very well.
My Crisis impact panel did not work. And the more I think about it, the less I liked it, and the more I'm a little annoyed by it. But the thing is that it's funny now because you're starting to see some of the actors, since especially Stephen Amell's moving on. They're about to wrap like the final 2 episodes of Arrow this season, and he came out and did a interview. I don't know if he did it exclusively with superherohype.com, but I was reading it, and it's essentially talking about how during his initial death scene when he's on the gurney, he was really annoyed because they were trying to rush Grant Gustin and Katie Lotz out because they had their shows to do.
And that's his first death scene, too.
It was his first one. I know, it's so stupid that we have to say that. How silly is that?
Because technically his body dies 3 times? Because he dies in that one, and then his body's disintegrated when the rest of the universe is disintegrated. And then he dies at the end of the last, or not even the last episode, the second to last episode.
Yeah, those, I still cannot get over that. It's one of those things where I just keep saying it feels so weird to say that you literally do not see Oliver or Green Arrow's like face the entire last episode of the crossover. It blows my fucking mind. Yeah. But
and all these people owe this shit to him. Like if he wasn't like, if his show didn't take off, none of this shit would be possible.
Yeah. It'd be like, it's almost like the equivalent of like the final like half of Avengers. You just didn't see Robert Downey Jr. Like you just didn't see him at all.
Yeah, the whole fight scene thing.
Like, just assume, like, after the explosion or something at the battle, like, before the battle starts, you just don't even see his face ever again until the end of the film. Like, not even until the end of the film.
He gets, like when Spidey shows up, he takes his mask off and shit.
I'm saying, like, because you'd even see, like, Iron Man or something. That's fine. Yeah. I'm talking, like, you just don't, like, you only talk about the character in name. You don't see his face. You don't see him.
Yeah.
Or any of that. Because, I mean, even remember he has the hologram message to his daughter after the thing. But anyway, Stephen Amell was not very happy because he's like, here I am, the guy from Arrow, dying, and I'm on a Supergirl show with Supergirl cast and crew, and I don't have anybody around me, and most of the actors aren't even there, so I'm like talking to a fucking tennis ball trying to do this real scene. And he goes, my frustration is like, how do you put out a quality product?
Yeah. Is this a video or is it just like a sit down interview that they wrote?
It looked like I'm assuming it's just an interview because I only
I would love to see like an actual like from his mouth type thing, you know?
Oh, I refuse to believe that won't happen. He's very vocal about his roles, and you can tell he really cares about Arrow. Like, he really did. He even said, I wanted to leave before the start of season 7. That was the point. Like, he's like, I was ready to go, but the money. He goes, I don't want to lie to anybody. I don't want anybody to get things twisted, but man, they offered me a lot of money, and it would be fiscally irresponsible to turn that down.
Especially because he's got kids and shit, you know?
Yeah, and then he lucks out, and he goes, well, and I lucked out because season 8 ended up being a great time. I really enjoyed what I was doing. It was, like, production-wise, it felt like one of the better seasons, and I'm like, I could probably give you that. But yeah, I could see his frustration. I mean, everybody's like so worried about like fitting everything in that it's just like he got pushed to the sideline, and it's just like, well, dude, this is supposed to be his send off. Like, this is really silly. It's like throwing a surprise birthday party and you forgot to send him the invite. Like, you know, I just thought it was, and him saying that stuff kind of makes me feel a little validated about a couple of those scenes that I was like, man, that felt really weak. So, hopefully everything keeps moving forward. I think I'm kind of done. I don't know. Legends of Tomorrow looks like fun, and it mostly just seems like it's because they're going in their own direction, and I like it. So.
I didn't watch because the episode just dropped yesterday.
Pretty much all the shows restarted.
Flash hasn't come out yet, and the last episodes of Arrow haven't started yet. They
did
later.
promos.
Yeah.
I think Arrow started again.
No.
Because they just... Are
did
you
it?
Sure? I'm pretty sure.
I didn't. If it did, I didn't see it. I watched the Batwoman episode and the Supergirl episode.
Okay.
And nothing else was on that I could find except for Black Lightning was on. But I started it, and then like after they got past the initial like this crisis thing happened.
Yeah.
And they started getting into their storyline. I was like, fuck, I gotta watch everything to know what the hell's going on. And they actually look like they have good actors in that show, man. I really want to watch that.
I'm not kidding, dude. I watch clip compilations of like their best scenes like all the time. It's good shit. It's just like I think that's gonna
you think that's gonna take up the mantle of like the darker tone show like Arrow was? No. Because they seem a lot more serious toned.
They're absolutely. I would say I would put it on the level of like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. Like they feel like they went more that route. I don't know, man. I hope so, because I mean, it'll be really interesting how you're gonna keep a dark tone with Arrow when you have 3 chicks in leather running around.
Oh like, yeah, because they're doing Arrow and the
Canaries
or some shit.
And when their powers like,
we'll see when that actually happens.
Do you always find it funny that like two of the women in the show, their superpowers to just yell at men really loud? I'm sorry.
Well, a guy probably did create those characters, so
fair enough. That's why she ended up in a bustier and fishnets.
I did watch the Batwoman episode. It was alright. I mean, coming off of Crisis and like how like tone deaf that whole like 5 episodes was. It was nice to be like, oh, hey, at least I know what the tone of this episode is going to be.
Like, my expectations have been set
and
properly.
It wasn't a horrible episode, but it's still Batwoman episode.
You're so
like,
nice to that show. I love how you're so nice to that show.
And Supergirl was actually pretty fun. They dove into, of course, because Lex Luthor and shit like that.
Yeah.
So they dove into it a lot more. And their show is more like affected anyways by the stuff because it's in the world, or they morph the worlds or whatever. So they dealt with a lot more stuff in there, and there was like 200 brainiacs.
Oh my god!
It was like
so he's like the new Wells of
it was kind of like that. It was kind of like the Court of Wells or the Council of Wells or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of like that with brainiac. I mean, it wasn't 200. I'm over exaggerating. It was probably like 5 or something. Yeah. But there was even one that was like a female brainiac.
Oh my god!
And they're like, we're all the same, you know. And it's like, okay. And then and like he's told that, you know, you have to help Lex Luthor, but none of your friends are gonna want to help Lex Luthor. But Lex Luthor's like the key to helping everything, keeping everything.
He's the key to all this. He's like Jar Jar Binks.
Basically.
He's the key.
So it'll be interesting. Apparently, Lena knew. Lex's sister knew everything still, though. She was like the one person they didn't have to give her memories back to.
Sure, why not?
Like, they just oh, no, we need to keep this whole beef going between you and Supergirl, so...
How fucking easy was that, too, that Martian Manhunter's just going around fucking Vulcan mind-melding everybody?
And the thing is, I don't get how that works. They should only be able to get his memories.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be able to get their memories back because they're a completely different being. They don't have... It's not like it's, like, built into their brain somewhere else, but... That's a whole other fuck you.
Yeah, you know, it's just you gotta do what you gotta do to get your shows back, I guess.
Batwoman tackled the crossover thing. Like, I thought they were gonna do a lot more in the show. Like when they started the episode, I was like, oh, they just changed up everything. And then I was like, nope, that's just a stupid story plot that's in there, whatever. But then, like, the
probably
final,
like a fucking throwaway line, like, "Yo, I just did this thing where I saved the multiverse. Okay, now back to business."
Yeah, every single show it was like that, except like him, and then for Batwoman, Luke was like, "Oh yeah, crisis, blah blah blah, whatever." No one knows, all that shit, because he doesn't know and nothing.
Did they put Luke back into being fucking pussy Luke?
Yeah. Why the fuck does he always wear a suit? He's in a Batcave his entire life. Why are you wearing a suit?
He's also got fucking like 8-pack abs. Like, what are you doing?
Right. They did introduce another character who I think is going to eventually be part of the Bat Crew. Just because fucking she took her mask off right in front of the kid. It was a kid. Everyone. Spoilers. But like the last 2 seconds, they kind of like pulled in more from the whole world joining bullshit, and ended it like that.
Well, we'll see how it goes moving forward. Legends is really the only thing on my radar. I'll probably stick with Flash just because I'll
probably watch Legends tonight.
I have zero interest in Arrow and the Canaries. Like, had the Canaries gone off and done something by themselves, I might have cared, but like,
Arrow's
there's no dynamic there.
They have 2 episodes left of Arrow.
Yeah.
There's absolutely zero reason that his daughter should be there because the universe has been restarted, which means all the time travel stuff should have been put back.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing that they'll probably ignore.
Yeah.
And then, like, I just want them to end that show. Whatever, fucking, are they gonna bring? They're not gonna bring Felicity back. If they were, they should have had her in the crossover when he fucking died.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like, really, guys, you were just that cheap. You couldn't afford the actress for one extra shoot day or something,
I'm just telling you, it just seems so strange that Oliver died twice. You had 2 opportunities to have a sad scene with him, and some mixture of Felicity, Diggle, Barry, and Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't do any of them. Like, they'd be like, well, Sarah and Barry. I go,
It would have been cool, though, too, like, when he's in purgatory and they go to try and pull him out, instead of, like, just the Spectre coming up to him. Like, it's the Spectre, and he's saying stuff, and, he's like, I'm not fucking going with you. And then Felicity walks out behind the Spectre.
Or something. Like,
that would have been really cool.
Pulled her around or something.
Yeah.
It was silly. It was all silly.
That's enough with that shit.
That's enough of that show.
I'm interested to see what Flash does with it. Hopefully they changed up a bunch of stuff. Like, these shows had such an in to just, you know what?
Do whatever they
want.
wanted.
We're going to switch up the whole storyline now. And it's just like, you guys are failing.
Yeah. The only thing I got is that in the Flash promos, it looks like they're making Iris West like annoying again. So that's either going to go really bad.
I haven't
or really
seen none of those promos.
Yeah. Now she's just being kind of an annoying bitch again, and it's like, oh my god, please, if you're gonna do that, please kill her this time. Like, we can't. I don't want another "We Are the Flash" moment. Like, please don't do that to me.
I think from the few minutes of Black Lightning that I did watch, they seem more level-headed with dealing with this stuff. Because like, they go to the guy who happens to be Dexter's dad, the actor.
My god. Yeah.
they go to him, and he's like, we were both in different dimensions or whatever, because his daughter apparently got sucked into an alternate universe as well, but she was like within there, so she never died or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And then of course he was out helping. They're telling the guy, and he's like, well, I have no recollection of any of this stuff happening. He's like, well, everything joined together. And he's like, well, wait, if I don't have any recollection, no one else does. So we don't know what has changed and what hasn't from what you guys know, and trying to like get it level headed and shit like that. So
kind
I
of
was
like Flashpoint.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I just turned it off, because I was like, they started getting into the bad guys, and I saw the old gangster dude from 50 Cent's movie, and I was like, all right, I gotta turn this off, because I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Nope, I feel you. But okay, so yay. Okay, let's get away from that. What else? So what other vomit-inducing?
Vomit-inducing? I don't have nothing vomit-inducing. I checked out Picard. Picard dropped last night. This morning. It's all right. Okay. I mean, it's they call it Star Trek Picard. Is that the full name? Is it just Star Trek's Picard or some shit like that?
Yeah, I think it's just like Picard with like the symbol. But
it's the first show that they've done for Star Trek that isn't like, well, besides Deep Space Nine, that isn't based on a ship's name. But Deep Space Nine was based on the freaking space station, so so it's the first one that's actually just centers around the person. I think they did a decent job with the first episode. Again, I only saw the first one. I know people out there have seen the first 3 because they screened them like that for some people. They introduced the whole theory of Bruce Maddox, who is the guy who. So back in the day, he wanted to dissect Data.
Okay.
Take Data apart and figure out how Data is so sentient, like how he's a sentient life being and shit like that. And of course, they said no. And then of course, he was like, well, I'm going to have you transferred here. And then Data was like, well, fuck you, I'm leaving Starfleet. And then the guy's like, well, you can't do that. You're property. You're not a person. You're property. Trying to do that shit. So they brought up this guy's name, Bruce Maddox, in the show in Picard, and he's supposedly like, because he was doing work on synthetic beings and shit like that.
Okay.
But the way they brought him up, I was just like, you're making him seem like he was a good guy when he was basically said they're not people, they're property.
Yeah. Badman.
Yeah. And I remember they were trying to, like, in the show, they had done something about where he was trying to say, well, Data needs to come with us. We want to basically clone him, like remanufacture him, because they couldn't break down the brain functions of Data without him. And they fought against it, being like, well, basically what you're wanting to do is Data's a race. He is a race. And you want to clone that race to turn them into slaves, because they wanted to use the robots for fighting and stuff like that, and defense for Starfleet, which is against the things.
If that's not a perfect metaphor for how franchisers are being treated these days, they're trying to make these awful clones that they don't understand.
I did think that they didn't do a shitload of like how Star Wars would always, here's this and reminisce about this and reminisce about that. They didn't do that in this first episode, so I was kind of happy. Like,
that's kind of nice.
He walks into his vault room that has like shit from the Enterprise in it, and that's about it. Like, you get like the Picard Day sign that's up in the thing or some shit, but it's a quick little glance. They don't focus on it. He doesn't focus on all this stuff. The most they try and talk about is Romulus being destroyed.
Okay.
Which they talked about in the 2009 movie. That's why Spock went through the black hole and all that bullshit. And that's basically why he left Starfleet, because Starfleet was like, yeah, we can't help these guys anymore, because the synthetics that were created attacked the base that had the ships on it that were supposed to go and help the Romulans. Mm-hmm. But in this thing, he was talking about it, and he says something because of course, like he does like this like news talk one-on-one interview type thing, and he's like, they're not gonna ask me why I left Starfleet, blah blah blah, right? And he's like, no, we made sure they're not gonna. We all know how the media is. They say they won't, but they fucking will anyways. And then of course they do, and then it becomes this big old thing, and he tells them why he fucking left Starfleet.
Okay.
So they built it into the story for him to give the exposition as to why, but it works in the tone that they do it. Rather than him just being like, I fucking left Starfleet because of this, like in a voiceover or something.
They're all assholes. And
yeah, it was because of like the whole Romulus thing. And but he gives off numbers saying that they were planning, he talked Starfleet into evacuating the planet, the whole 900 million people on the planet. And I looked it up, and in the year 2368, which was 20 years before Romulus got destroyed, there were approximately 18 billion people on that planet. So they weren't even going to save a fraction of them.
You fucking nerd. Dude, isn't that what we talked about in Crisis? I was like, what are you doing? It didn't matter because you blew them all up.
Right. It's like, you know.
Well, I was curious with the show because when people were talking about it.
I've seen a bunch of people like talk. Like I finally went and looked at some people that were like bitching about it to see like, what are you complaining about? You know, so
it was interesting because I remember before it came out, Red Letter Media was talking about it, and Myke, who was like a huge Star Trek nerd, was talking about it, and he's like talking with Rich Evans about how like, you know, when it comes to Picard, there's really only two things they can do. Either you bring back Picard and he's like in some like liaison, like he's like an older admiral commander type thing, sitting in a chair, and people are looking to him for advice. On
which they did that with Shatner back in the day, you know.
Exactly. Or they're gonna try and drudge up his 90-year-old ass, put him in the Starfleet commander chair, and he's gonna be running around pew pew and with explosions all around him, and you're gonna go, why are we doing this? I'm very curious if they've hit either of those options in the first episode, or are they still like holding?
No, actually they do really good. So they have this, it's kind of a cheap way out. They do this storyline where there's a synthetic, you find out it's Data's daughter, or Data's daughter, you know, as much as a daughter he can have. And she gets killed. Yeah, she gets killed though in the first episode. But then you find out like at the end, oh, she has a twin somewhere.
Of course.
Twin robot, because they're made in pairs. So okay, that I'm like, I can see people gonna take this and run with it and just bitch about it for the rest of like the season just because they're assholes. But
they're not warranted or anything. It's just,
I mean, I can do that too, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna give them a couple passes here and there. But they did. There's this running scene where they're running away from something and they're going up these stairs, and you see, and they don't do no tacky line about how old he is or anything like that, but you see him getting winded, like he can't do it.
Yeah.
So the girl has to like literally pull him to get him to move fucking faster and shit.
Wow,
so it's like,
big fucking surprise. I'm just saying.
It's a female android.
I'm just saying.
Well, no, I mean he's fucking almost 100 years old.
But that's what I'm saying. Why are we setting him up like, I don't know. It seems like,
I think they did a decent job of humanizing him and making people realize, hey, this.
It's like, haven't they seen X-Men? He barely uses his legs. Why would they think he could run? It's insane. He's also a poop emoji.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I could give more to the conversation. I
don't know. It's one of those things. I feel that they did a decent job of humanizing him so far in the first episode. The pacing's kind of weird though. There are some spots where it's just like, okay, can we move it along a little faster here? And you know, they have these random slow-mo spots, and the stuff with the drawer that they show in the trailer with Data's body in it. It's actually B4's body, which was another android. One of the guys was making him.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then all the stuff that you see Brett Spiner in is like dream stuff right now.
Fair enough.
So far. We'll see.
So I mean, obviously first episode, so.
Oh, and why the fuck are the Romulans like dissecting and tearing apart the freaking Borg cube?
Because you need Romulans.
Why the Romulans were like one of the biggest threats before, and we're letting them just dissect a Borg cube, and then clearly people know about it or something. I'm not sure. But for their whole planet being gone, there's a lot of Romulans. Let me just say that.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's what happens when you're not creative. You can't come up with new villains. It's what Doctor Who's dealing with. Doctor Who lately, like, you're having this show that's known for all of time and space, and like 90% of their episodes have taken place on Earth in the past. I'm like, wow, fucking boring. So boring.
I want the show to do good because I would love for them to tackle stuff from DS9.
Yeah.
And
or even
like the
just
Jem'Hadar and all that shit, dude. Like, I don't want it to be like a big old TNG reunion, though. You know, get those things out, get the little cameos out, whatever.
Well,
but like, have characters from everywhere. Like, have Janeway come back in and help Picard do something. You know, she could still be an admiral, and that's how he gets the in with Starfleet again, or some bullshit.
Well, my idea was just I always liked the idea of him actually getting what he wanted from the Magic Flute episode or whatever. Like, he's at his fucking vineyard. You know what I mean? And, like, people are coming to hang out with him. And it's like, he's more like this, or at least for, like, 3 or 4 episodes, you know? He's just somebody that's constantly, people are just showing up asking for advice.
Yeah.
To a point where something horrid happens and he has to come back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's apprehensive. I just wanted some slow stuff watching Patrick Stewart act. That's all I wanted. I'm not asking for... It's the same thing I said about fucking Star Wars, man. It's so difficult to tell people that you went through that entire trilogy. You drudged up all of these old actors, and you never put all 3 of them in a fucking room together. I just wanted to see... I just wanted to see him act.
I was thinking about that last night. I was like, you know, they really dropped the ball with Star Wars by putting those guys all together. And of course, they've all been in the room together before in the past.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it would be really cool if CBS just got together and got all the captains from every generation, just put them in a scene together. Just the only one you might not get is the dude from Enterprise, because he's like way dead.
Yeah.
But like you could get, you know, Shatner in there and stuff. Well, I guess if you get Shatner, you could get him some time travel way, because he dealt with a lot of time travel
hologram
shit.
Stuff. Like maybe you go through old archives and the guy left a message from years ago. You can de-age him.
That's how they fucking ended Enterprise. They just made it a big hologram on the freaking Enterprise in Next Gen.
Well, I was saying more just like, I was just saying like, so you could have all the captains at a round table talking.
Yeah.
Like, and like share their experiences. And it's like, well, he's dead. So what do? They pull like a message from the archives where he was dealing with something. Like maybe he kept like a video diary, and it's like, here's this and this, and you get to listen to segments. And like, I don't know. I think, especially with these type of characters, you want to just watch them. Like, you like them because you know who they are. Like, you understand the character's ideology, what they wanted, what their dreams and aspirations were. Like, you could almost logically put them in a situation, and you as a fan could go, I know exactly what he's probably going to do. And when you have those kind of characters all sitting in a room together, just chatting, that is extremely compelling and emotionally like engaging. And then you can put them in a situation down the road after you get your sweet acting chops out of the way. I get it. I think that's what Discovery totally lacks. It's just like, it's always action. And if the situation isn't moving and exploding, like the camera's moving, it's like, it's just 2 people talking. We don't need to cut back and forth 8 times. It's a conversation. So like, I guess that would be my question is like, obviously compared to Discovery, like, do you notice that they're the same tone, or are they like going in a different direction with this, or how does it feel?
It's not the same tone as Discovery. So
I would say that's a step in the right direction.
I feel it's going to be more entertaining than Discovery.
Do you think that's
good
solely on people coming back?
No, I think from the story arc that they're building into, And of course, anytime you have Picard, you have to have Borg. So you know they're gonna do something with the Borg again and again and again and again.
Yeah. Again, another Doctor Who problem. They just keep
would
recycling characters.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see like that like Q from the you remember Q, the godlike being.
Yeah, I don't know why I kept.
He
going
always
back to
like
James
popped
Bond.
up into Picard's life and fucked with him basically. It'd be really cool to see like some of his lessons come into play here because he was always telling Picard, hey, this, and this about like humanity and shit like that. To see some of that stuff come in and actually pay off for once, you know, because you're not going to see it on Next Gen, but you can see it in the future Picard.
That could be, that's a good call.
Yeah.
God, why aren't you writing?
Because they don't want to pay me $5 to say, hey, this.
Hey guys, this is dumb. So initial thoughts, I guess. So you're kind of feeling it. Definitely gonna give it a try.
I'm not like gonna praise it right now.
Little too soon.
A little too soon. It's one episode, you know. It's 40 minutes, and it's a lot of setup, and they still haven't like set up and introduced like the main cast for the show. Because I watched a preview, like not a preview, but like their stupid trailer for the season or whatever, and they've only introduced like one other person so far that's like the main cast member. So we'll see where they go with it. I heard that in the first 3 episodes they stay on Earth for the most part. For at least Picard does. He doesn't leave Earth for the first 3 episodes. So.
Okay.
But I also been like avoiding spoilers for it.
Yeah.
So sorry if I spoiled anything for anybody.
Yeah. So we talked about there's one episode and some people have gotten like a 3-episode screening. I guess people in the media or whatever. It's actually interesting because I want to dig up an old conversation that we had.
Okay. I'm
trying to remember who was. I want to say there was a third person on the podcast when we were doing it. I don't remember who it was. The idea now of releasing new shows weekly or dropping them constantly for binging, where do you stand now?
Fuck them. I just want to watch all of it.
You want to watch all of it?
Like I get the point with like where Disney's doing it because they use like The Mandalorian, they used it week, and then it led into their movie. Because of course they showed before the Star Wars movie dropped and they showed the stupid healing force in that movie, they showed Baby Yoda do the same thing in Mandalorian right before. So I kind of like, I can see why Disney would do it.
They were trying to justify something stupid.
Yeah, they were. But for like CBS, I mean, unless they're going to be making a fucking movie to go along with this at the end of this, season or whatever. But of course, also with them too, I think they're doing Picard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the episodes, and then the next show starts, and the next show starts. They're trying to get it so that every time each season ends, the next show, like Discovery Season 3, or they're going to be doing a cartoon for Star Trek too. So we'll see. I don't know. I would still fucking love a DS9 spinoff, guys. Come on. Cisco ain't dead. He's just in the. He's just with the prophets.
Because it's funny because I don't remember, but I think you were on the side of moving back to weekly because I think you liked that idea.
I don't like weekly stuff, dude. I hate watching like. With the Arrowverse, when I got caught up with even the Arrowverse, I was like, fuck this.
Having to wait, yeah.
I don't want to do that. But then we started talking about it more on the podcast and stuff, so it's like, okay, now I can't wait like 5 weeks and watch 5 episodes at a time or something.
I feel like the biggest fucking waffling hypocrite in the world. Because I believe I was in favor of binging because I like binging. I like the idea of like, if I really like this show, I want to roll through it. It's a toss-up.
It depends, I guess, on what the content is.
And because sometimes it's a grind. Like I remember watching like when Jessica Jones dropped. It's like I want to watch it I want to get done with it as fast as I can. And then you do miss stuff. Like we talked about, like how like I did that with Glow. Like seasons kind of bled together. I wasn't 100% sure, like. chronologically, like how things actually went
right.
down.
Well, what season ended where and shit like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then Mandalorian came out, and they were doing weekly, and it was neat to finally have that discussion again, where it was like people could break down episodes for the week, and
it really does give more weekly content for like reviewers, critics, people like that.
Well,
as well.
When I think as a fan, like being able to like talk about stuff like that and theorize and talk with friends about it and like really get into the nitty gritty of an episode, especially if you like the show, I think that really can help you moving forward. It's like, okay, was this show really as good as I thought? Or like, do I really want to keep wasting my time with it? Or what do I want to do? Because Mandalorian worked out for me where I really enjoyed the first episode. Thought it was awesome. And then the second episode did some really dumb shit. And I was like, And then the third one happened. I was like, oh, some neat action stuff went down. This was really cool. And then the fourth episode killed me. I've not gone back.
Yeah.
And had all episodes dropped, I would have just finished it. Because they were only like 30 minutes a piece or whatever. So like, a fourth episode would have happened. I go, I don't really like this show anymore. And instead of just finishing out the last like 3 episodes for the sake of it, because they were all there, I was watching reviews and catching up and listening to podcasts and all stuff. And I go, oh yeah, no, all those things that were bugging me, they were there. And they've been getting exponentially worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because I was thinking about it, I go, oh, yeah, it's not worth my time. I'll save 3 hours and go watch something else.
Right.
And so that's the detriment to the show, is that if it's not tightly written, that constant bring back, like getting people through the revolving door is a little more difficult. But at the same time, as a viewer, I love being able to sit down and watch as much as I want. And the reason I say that is because I found this other show. So again, I can't tell you which one I'm in favor of. I think they both have their merits, so I really cannot say which side I fall on. But I found this new show, and which isn't new, by the way. Apparently, they're about to do, I think, their 6th and final season.
Okay.
And it's a comedy, and it's on Netflix now. Go see it; it's great. It's called Schitt's Creek, and it's made by Eugene and Dan Levy, and like it has Catherine O'Hara from the Home Alone movies. She was the mom, and Annie Murphy, who plays the daughter. The show is great, man. It's so much fun. It's about this rich family that got essentially Ponzi schemed, and we open the show with them getting all of their stuff like repoed and they're being kicked out. But apparently the dad bought a small town for his son as a joke, like for his birthday, just like a little shithole town.
Right.
And because nobody else cared about it and they can't really repo that, like they can't really auction that off, I guess. Their lawyer or something said, hey, you own this place, you own this town, go there. You can live there really cheap until you get back on your feet. And it's just all these socialite, crazy, like delusional 1%ers living in this little hick town. But the best part about it is that like all the people from that town, they kind of play into some stereotypes and stuff, but they actually like are well-developed characters and they're smart. They're not all like, you know what I mean? They're not all dumb.
Yeah.
So that was refreshing. You see a lot of, like I'm missing like 50 teeth and I'm stupid and I can't read a book. What's a book? So it's neat to not see that trope necessarily done to death. And then like, you get to see a lot of good character development with these like selfish people, like learning to be a little bit more generous and blah, blah, blah.
But it's not always a trope. Can we just say that is not always a trope?
No. I'm not saying that those people don't exist, because you're talking to a dude from Iowa, and you're from fucking West Virginia, right?
Yeah, I was born there. Yeah.
So I mean, if anybody knows about
in the mean hills of West Virginia, the hills have eyes. Wrong turn. That's a West Virginia movie.
West Virginia, born and raised. Out with my banjos, where I spent most of my days. But I would just say I rolled through it immediately. It's an easy watch too. Apparently,
how many episodes is it?
Like each season's like 13 episodes.
Okay, yeah.
But they're only like 20 something minutes, like tops. Yeah. And
see, whenever there's a show that's on and it's like they're 20-minute episodes, like 10, 15 episodes, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch this.
I'm like, this show's gonna be great. Well, because it's usually that means there's like not a lot of filler episodes. Like every episode does something. Yeah. And like it's really tightly edited. The acting's insane. And I'm one of those freaks that like when he really likes a show or he really likes a movie, I'm all about interviews and like panels and like Eureka's a great example for me where I was like, it's this sci-fi show that finished and I rolled through it and I loved all these characters. So all I did was went through their like Comic-Con panels and their like PallyFest panels and got to do Q&As and stuff with them, which was super fun. And you get all this really neat insight into how they make the show. And oh man, I've just been eating and living and breathing Schitt's Creek for like the last 2 weeks. Like I've already finished all 5 seasons that are on Netflix twice. I believe there's 5. And yeah, they're about to do their final. And I guess it's like a Canadian run show. It's like from Pop or whatever, I guess is one of their like channels or something. Okay. I don't know. It's really freaking good, man. And it's neat to see Eugene Levy play somebody other than the character from American Pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds really dumb. And he's like working with his son, who like is obviously his son in real life. So like getting to see their interactions really good. Catherine O'Hara is fucking hilarious. Like she reminds me of like Audrey Hepburn, like mixed with like just some insane, like maybe like Meryl Streep character. She's so annoying and it's great. Yeah. And probably I would argue, I told Hannah, I go, and it's a scene between a gay couple, and I go, it might be one of the most perfect scenes ever created. And I'm most perfect. That's how much I care.
Most perfect.
It was just this really like romantic moment where a guy was like singing to his boyfriend at an open mic night in front of a bunch of people. Yeah. And like the way it was shot and constructed and the way the song was written and stuff, it was like, this might be perfect television. Like right here, when like people talk about like what's a perfectly constructed scene, that would probably be in my top like 10 list of like scenes that just like Breaking Bad, where it's like say my name, like shit like that, or like I'm the one who knocks, like all these like really iconic.
I still haven't
moments.
watched Breaking Bad.
It's pretty good. I think Better Call Saul is maybe better, but I enjoy.
Wasn't that
Breaking
like
Bad.
A movie? Didn't they do that as a movie?
El Camino,
Camino that
was the movie. Okay. It was the movie that took place after the end of the show. Okay. Which was fine. Didn't break anything, so that was good. Better Call Saul is the spinoff about like the crooked lawyer.
I would love for these people to just come up with something original instead of here's a spinoff here. Here's another spinoff.
To be fair though, this was like a spinoff done right, because it's like the crooked lawyer goes off and has to like live a new life. Yeah. But it also at the same time, it's being juxtaposed with this, like his origin story. Mm-hmm. And his story is really compelling because he's like a lawyer. Yeah. Who's like he's a public defendant trying to become a good lawyer, and you wonder how he got there. Right. And it's really interesting. And like all the characters around him are really interesting.
As long as there's an interesting story. That's like one of my big issues though with like, even with like Picard, it's like a spinoff. Some would say, well, it's not a spinoff, it's continuation, but it's a spinoff. Sure. You know, it's named after the character from another show. It's just like when they had, what was it? Friends, and then they did Joey.
Oh my God, what a piece of shit. That show was awful.
I tried watching that. I was like, oof. He acts just like he did in that show when we first saw him on Friends. It's like they forgot everything he fucking learned.
There's no character development at all.
It's the same fucking problem anything, with Hobbs and Shaw. But like I wish that they would just come up with, like, I feel Discovery would have been a little more well received if it wasn't like a prequel, if it was more of a sequel to everything else. Which,
well, it would have made more sense with the like way that they made it. Like the production value. It's like, it's so hard to think that all of this glitz and glam of all the like. Yeah. It was kind of what the prequelitis from the prequel trilogy for Star Wars happened. It was like all this shiny and wonderful stuff. I have a real hard problem believing we went from that to all the little push buttons and like wooden stages of Star Trek, you know, the original series.
Which those are just soundboards from a TV station, anyways, in the original Star Wars.
But you know what I mean? Like, how do you go from these bitney buppity boopy boops that look awesome, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're at a high school.
See, that's stage. The thing is like, so with Enterprise, the show Enterprise, that takes place 100 years before the original series.
Okay.
And the technology, they did a really good job of making it less advanced, you know. Okay. I mean, it doesn't look as corny as the stuff from the 6, but it's less advanced technology.
It feels familiar.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it should be there to make sense.
Right.
But it's still.
But then you had Discovery come along, and that's only 10 years before the original series. And it's like, if you guys would have just made this a sequel series, it would have been better, which then... Yeah. Of course, they got a lot of shit for the first season, which is why I think they did what they did in the second season with bringing Pike and all that stuff in, like bringing the Enterprise in. They're like, oh, we need to do something. I was like, no, you didn't need to do that, but okay. And then, of course, now they're jumping 900 years into the future, which is where the show should have taken place in the first place. You know?
So you might get a pass now, and like if they can maybe even just.
And you know the only reason they're doing that, though, is because fans have complained so much. They're
or
like,
they ran
let's
out
get
of
this shit out of here.
Or they ran out of nostalgia. Like, what else can we murder? You know, we don't have anything.
Well, not only
else
that, it's like, how many more years of that are you going to be able to do if 10 years after the show started, you know, the original shit happened, and we got Pike and all that stuff. You know, it's like, do a show with Pike in that place time, you know?
Yeah.
Time era, whatever.
Sure.
Because they even did that stupid thing where they were like, well, Pike didn't like holograms, so they took the holograms out of the Enterprise and shit. I'm like, really? Now you guys are just backtracking to try and make up for the technology and shit like that. But whatever. I think they did do a decent job of closing it out, though, with, you know, no one talked about Discovery that knew about Discovery. It was just like erased from the databanks and everything.
Sure, why not?
So it works that way, but I was like, eh. But yeah, off of that, I just wish they would do more original stuff. But I'm also kind of like that guy who
I love the nostalgia, but it does get me there. But then I wish they would do something with it. Yeah, it's kind of my issue. Like, don't parade around a corpse. I think that's weird.
Right,
like they did with Carrie Fisher.
Literally.
You fucking Christ. So, like, I guess we tangented really hard, but I was gonna I'll just finish up my point with Schitt's Creek. Yeah. If you want a really good comedy, I told you this 100 times while I was watching it, was it is 100% for me. It feels like Parks and Rec with peppered in with some Will and Grace. Okay. Like character interactions are really good. They're really quick and they're fun and upbeat. But at the same time, these characters are really well developed and they all have their own really solid personalities that you can put any two characters in a room and they can have a good back and forth because their characters are so fleshed out. Like, it feels like, you know, like when you see a show and you're like, these scenes would write themselves. You could almost, after like 3 seasons, you could put the 2 actors in the room and they could just make the scene if you needed them to, that kind of thing. I really, really like it. And it's silly how I found it was between Twitter and YouTube, people were doing compilations of David Rose, who's Dan Levy, Eugene Levy's son, who's also like a pseudo writer / showrunner, creator of the show. And he's fantastic. He does play up the gay, like he does big hand gestures, but he's gay in real life, so that's kind of neat. So it's like, obviously it's his personality. He's not putting on a show. Yeah. Maybe a little hyperbolic, but it's still who he is.
Flamboyant.
And sure, yeah. But like not overtly, like, I mean, I guess I'm not gay, so I wouldn't know like if it's like misrepresenting. But the guy is hysterical. Like, his comedic timing's great. So I was watching compilations of like his sassiest moments or like his funniest dialogue, and I go, what the fuck is this show? And then I checked it out, and I'm like, I immediately fell in love. I think it took 2 episodes, and I was like, I'm done. I'm finishing this show. So it's So if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. It's a really fast and easy watch, and it's a lot of fucking fun.
Right.
Like, it's just a good show. It's a really, really good show.
Since we're on the TV show stuff,
yes, sir.
I would love to talk about this show.
Ew, Michael.
That I think we both have completely watched. And Netflix came out and said that it has like the highest ratings for them.
Oh no.
And I'm questioning why.
Don't do it.
Because Netflix has shows such as Stranger Things. They have shows such as Glow. They have shows
Jessica Jones.
Like all the Marvel stuff they had,
Sure.
you know. Lost in Space is really good. I really enjoyed that one.
Really? I didn't like the first season. I've heard the second season's pretty dope.
It's pretty dope. So Netflix came out and they had said something. This is weeks ago too. We're behind.
Yeah.
But
Crisis ate up everything for the last couple months, so.
And then of course vacations and shit like that. But
sure.
The Witcher.
Oh man. Okay, so let's preface before we go here because there's a lot of potential to piss off a lot of people. Have you read any of the books?
Okay, so books, I have not read any books. I have not played the game. I don't give a shit about where the story came from because I don't really care.
And that's fine. So you're judging it purely on
what it is.
Show.
Yes. I heard the show, though, is like they took shit from the books and the game and they're mixing them together. Which
I think is a detriment because you're looking at something that's those two mediums are so different.
Yeah.
And the problem is I watched the first 2 episodes and they're long episodes, man. They're almost like
they're
all
about an hour each. And
which
they're,
I think are way too long.
What, 10 or 8 episodes or 10 episodes?
I want to say 8 or 10. I want to say 10 because Netflix usually does a 10 to 13 episode run. Hour is way too long, first of all. Second, the biggest problem I had is I watched 2 episodes, couldn't figure out why I didn't like it. Which obviously, spoiler, I didn't like it.
8 episodes.
Okay. So my thing is that after I watched a couple episodes, I wasn't feeling it, and I wanted to figure out why. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe am I not getting references? Am I not? Is it like this is the character it's supposed to be, and I'm just not enjoying it because he's nailing it, but I'm wrong? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I started going on to YouTube and did comparisons, like voice comparisons and like scenes from the video game and shit like that. And the problem is they would do like the 1-for-1 speech in the show. And they do it in the game, and the game was so much more compelling. Like they put him in a situation where like what he was saying made sense, and it was action, it was dramatic, and it looked really cool, and it gave a lot of insight into the character. And then in the show, it's just him standing there giving the speech, and it's really fucking lame. So after I did a lot of research and started like checking out some of the like, I didn't obviously read all the books, but I did like compilations of like best chapters of like comparisons from the show to the books, because I just wanted to see like were they even getting close.
Right.
It was so boring. The show does a good job of fan service, but it does it in the most lazy way possible.
But if you're not a fan, then how is that worth anything? It's kind of like with Crisis, you can't enjoy it unless you're like a big DC fan.
I don't know how true, because you don't necessarily need to read the comics and see like the DCEU to enjoy
the fan
Crisis.
service. The fan service is what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, see, and I guess I should be careful because the word fan service has been thrown around a lot in like a stupid way. Okay, so my example would be here I'm gonna see if I can like at least make my own barometer so you know what I'm talking about and how I speak about it is with Crisis. All those actors coming in and showing up, like Tom Welling and shit like that, I didn't care because I didn't watch Smallville. I didn't give a shit about it. I knew it was neat that they did that, and I appreciated it. But at the same time, the one I cared about was seeing Ezra Miller with Barry Allen, because I'm like, oh, they got him from the fucking movies. That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Also, his suit looks kind of cool. It was neat to see these and it was 2 good actors having fun. Like, and their dialogue was snippy and fun, and it felt pretty, it felt kind of real. And that's cool fan service, right? If you've never seen any of the DCEU movies, you're just like, it's another Flash.
Right.
It's still fan service, but I enjoyed it a little more because I know about that Flash.
Your suit's cool, dude.
Yeah. Hey! Shout out to Babu Frick. And that's the Ezra Miller toy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like fan service. Are you doing fan service for the fans of the CW series shows? Or are you doing fan service for just DC people?
I think that was just supposed to be for DC people.
Yeah. Or another great example, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
He's just the voice of Batman. So people who might not have never seen...
he is Batman.
That's how I feel about him, but not everybody feels that way. You know, because maybe nobody played the video games where he voiced them, or nobody watched the cartoon that he voiced. So who the fuck is he? You know what I mean? He's just... Now you see his face, and it's like, how often do you see his face?
Yeah.
And so, like, for us older nerds, we're like, that's fucking Kevin Conroy. It's the Batman. But is it fan service to have him brought on? He's evil and he gets murdered.
Yeah.
But him being there is fan service.
Just wait till we get our spin-off show of him and Luke. Yeah.
Batman Beyond style. I would watch that.
But yeah, back to The Witcher. So,
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my idea is that it's why I wanted to like look into the books and look into the video games. And it's more of just so when people talk about why they didn't like it on an adaptation scale, I would have something to contribute to the conversation.
Right.
Because I don't like this show. I don't get it. It seems extremely tone deaf.
So that's your initial is you don't like it.
I just don't. I think I noticed the appeal, like on the superficial level of everything. Because, you know, obviously, I think Henry Cavill's a great casting for the character. I think he plays it a little wooden.
Very like it seems like he's doing it. He seems like he's playing the role and making like fun of the role at the same time.
It feels like cosplay. It feels like he's cosplaying something that he enjoys, and he's just not particularly good at it. Yeah, but that's a thing apparently. Like him going or fuck. Like apparently that's a thing. Like from the games and the books. Like that's like his little.
He has to fuck
quirk,
or he has to say fuck, and he has to.
Yeah. And so that's neat. But holy fuck, dude, I hate the Bard. I want to die. And everybody's like, oh, he's my favorite part. And Jack Scar or whatever the fuck his name is. Mm-hmm. Toss your coin to the Witcher. I was like, it's a fine song. He can't sing it very well. I found a female cover of it on YouTube that's like 1,000 times better. And I knew I wasn't going to like the show from the first episode. Because aside from the fact that it essentially opens like Mandalorian, they have some really they have an arbitrary monster fight at the beginning. I don't care. I don't know what's happening. People go, well, it's setting the world. You know, there's monsters and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. Like, have him show up with like that monster's head at the bar. That's how we start it. And then the next fight, we get to watch the monster. Oh, like, oh, this is a world of monsters and he slays monsters. Okay, why is he doing it? Like, I don't know why he's.
They wanted you to open with seeing Henry Cavill soaking wet,
kicking ass, kicking ass. Yeah, that's all they wanted, and it was just like, oh man,
this isn't so Superman anymore. That's what they were trying to be like. Yeah,
I guess.
And he had to say fuck, just kind of like in Chris Evans' first movie after Captain America, he had to say some curse words.
He had to be a fucking asshole. Yeah.
But he's so good at being an asshole in movies. I love it.
He's got a smarmy face, man. What do you want? Like him in Not Another Teen movies. Like he's so good in that.
No, fucking in Scott Pilgrim, dude.
Oh yeah, that too. Even Brandon Routh's kind of a dickhead in that, and he's kind of good at it.
Yeah.
So
and Brie Larson. Oh wait, she's always a dick, but still.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh snap. So I mean, I guess obviously I don't like anything. So what do you think?
So back to the ratings and shit like that. When I found out the ratings were so high for this show.
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes style or whatever?
Or no, just like Netflix is like, it's the highest rated show that we have.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, so, well, maybe you had all the people that are sad that Game of Thrones ended. So you got those people to try and watch it.
Then you have absolutely agree.
Then you have all of your people that really like fantasy stuff watching it.
Yeah.
Then you have
Aragon or Vikings or whatever.
Yeah, and then you got, your people that just want to follow Cavill around because he's pretty boy.
Because he's hot, yeah.
Or some shit. And,
feel
there's so many things that can go into this show. I watched the whole show. You really need to watch the whole show for it to make a lot of sense if you don't have any prior knowledge to this stuff,
because they do a lot of time jumping.
They do. The whole narrative of the show pissed me off. I'm like, if they fucking do this in season 2, I'm gonna kill somebody.
It's so hard to follow because there's so many characters. Like, I think you essentially have 4 to 5 main characters at any given time, all being told out of context, like chronologically, and they don't hold your hand. So like, they don't tell you like, oh, we're in the past, we're in the future. They just cut to shit, and then eventually there's a reveal of like when things were going on.
Right.
Like, what?
it kind of like, once I finally watched the whole show, the first episode's title kind of makes a little more sense because it's called The End's Beginning. So
gotcha.
So in that. It seems like that and the last episode kind of go like bam, bam, back to back.
They bookshelf.
Yeah. And everything else is just like, we need to introduce all these characters so that you understand the end.
It's literally like the show is this empty chessboard and every episode is just arbitrarily pushing the pieces on the board for next season.
Yeah. I didn't find it like completely just like I can't watch this, but I did like really hate the narrative. And once I realized like there's got to be something's going on because this person died, but now they're back alive, and what's going on and why is this happening? And once I got a hold of what the narrative was trying to do, it was a little easier to stomach, but it's like, I need a second season to see if I'm even gonna try to stay with this, because
they lost me on all 4 of the major things you want to do when you're telling a story. Their world building is decent, but it's all over the place, so I can't follow it.
It's way all over the place.
It doesn't feel like there's any character development except for Piglet. I like her storyline like a lot.
Piglet.
Yennefer.
Oh, Yennefer. Yeah.
Wizard chick.
Yeah.
I like her stuff a lot.
She was one of the best characters.
And she's doing interesting shit.
I really liked, and this is something I noticed, but I really liked that they did this too. Well, one, I really liked her better as the Hunchback.
Agreed.
The character seemed a lot more interesting as the Hunchback.
One, it's more empathetic and sympathetic. Yeah. Like, I want to follow her and I want to see her succeed.
But then they would always do all of her sex scenes throughout the whole season are when she's a hunchback. And, like, you see her nude when she's a hunchback. But then when she gets all prettied up, you see her boobs probably once, and that's it. And I was like, that's brilliant, dude. Like, because no one's gonna fucking,
what a weird thing to notice. But I feel you. Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome. And like, because I said something to Nick, I was like, I bet after they make her pretty, they aren't gonna show her naked ever again. But they do, like, one
pretty
time.
Pretty close. But you were pseudo close.
I was like, damn. And she looks completely different too. Like,
oh yeah.
I was really happy with that makeup.
I don't know how she
man.
does. I'm very curious about the jaw thing. Like, does she put that on and like actually hurt her jaw? Like, or do they do like the Marlon Brando like cotton in the mouth type of thing?
See, I was trying to figure it out, but the cotton in the mouth would have like distorted more of her voice. But
you could do ADR. But
yeah,
my whole thing is I like her storyline. I like her character. But again, I was gonna go back to world building's erratic.
Yeah.
Character development is just
that's all over the place too.
I'd almost say it's non-existent except for her character. Everybody's kind of like, this is who they are, like, and now we're gonna slowly show you
his Gerald's character. Is you really don't get anything from like his character developing until like the last couple episodes. When they show like, some childhood shit, and it's like,
and it feels, and that's like prequel. It's like it's also cheap.
Yeah.
And then you got Tone. oh my God, the tone of this is insane.
It's all over the place.
I go, it was funny because you can tell these people want to jerk off to the blood and gore of Game of Thrones. They're like, that's what people liked about Game of Thrones. I was like, no, that was part of it, but it all mattered. It felt real. This doesn't feel real. It feels like cartoon blood and like cartoon fights peppered in to these like overly bright, almost like, I was telling people it felt like I was watching Kevin Sorbo's Hercules or like
that's what I said,
or Xena Warrior Princess, but then all of a sudden somebody's head's being lopped off. Like
I literally said that. I said it feels like Hercules meets Game of Thrones, and that's all it is.
And it's like that tone does not work. It for some people it does. It doesn't for me. And a lot of the fight scenes, which a lot of people like, I guess, praise, I go, these are silly.
What fight scenes though?
like
there's not really any.
Well, the battles are awful. Like the army battles are awful. But then like when Girl killed like those like 6 or 7 dudes, I think it was in the 2nd episode.
Yeah.
Like the camera like followed. It felt like Arrow.
So did you watch all the episodes? Did you watch the whole thing?
No, I only got 4 episodes in.
Okay.
I might finish it just for the sake of it.
Okay.
But
because what you're saying, like the fight scenes are bad, but there is something that they do in like, I think it's the last episode. I'm not gonna say it, but it's like they're trying to stop something from going somewhere.
Okay.
But
like
instead of just
kind of thing.
Yeah, like they're trying to stop them from going across this bridge to the other side of the country.
Okay.
So they set up a fortress to fight people. I'm like, why didn't you just go on the other side of the bridge and blow the fucking bridge up, dumbasses? If you really don't want them over there.
The fuck. But I was saying like because there's this fight scene, and it's one of the first ones that everybody talks about. And I'm pretty sure it's in the 2nd season. It's when it was like right before he killed that one chick. He like knifed her in the thing.
That was like the first episode, wasn't it?
Was it the first one? God, I'm telling you, dude, these episodes are so long. They're awful. I'm sorry.
It was the first girl who, when he tells her, find the girl in the woods or some shit.
Yeah. Girl in the woods. Yeah. So there's this big fight scene where like it's this big long one take. And he's like flipping swords around and stabbing people in the neck and cutting their arms off and shit. And the camera's like following him. Yeah. And it was like a Marvel fight scene without the cuts, but it also felt like an Arrow CW fight scene. Yeah. Like I would have 100% assumed, and this is not necessarily a bad thing. It just didn't work for the tone of this show.
Well, this show doesn't really have a set tone either.
That's the problem. It feels so all over the place.
It could be a CW show, and again with like the Hercules reference, that was like WB back in the day, wasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
I think.
I mean,
or equivalent. Fox, or one of those shows, but it's still like a TV show. It wasn't like cable or nothing.
Yeah, it was primetime TV.
Yeah, so
and my whole thing is like. Because like especially when the Bard gets introduced, shit starts getting goofy, and the character literally says, "Oh, there I go expositing again or dropping exposition again." I go, again, writers, you pointing out the stupid doesn't make it less stupid.
I feel that writers nowadays have taken Wes Craven's meta writing for horror movies and they put it in everything thinking it's going to work, and it's kind of getting outdated. It's like you need a character that has that built into him, like a Deadpool. Or like a Freddy from A Nightmare on Elm Street or some shit,
Or it works with like Legends of Tomorrow. They're breaking the fourth wall for fun, but when you're doing it in the crossover, when you're trying to take this all serious,
right?
Don't have characters going, "Oh, it's his first crossover." Don't do that. Yeah. Because it's not funny. Like when you're doing the promos, like, "Oh, we did a crossover and we weren't there." It's like, that's funny. Yeah. Doing it in the episode takes me out, and I go, okay, so am I supposed to take this seriously when you kill Kevin Conroy, or do I not take this seriously when you kill somebody? And then, like with Witcher, it was just like,
they start referencing Captain America and then the last Batwoman episode too, just so you know.
Well, Marvel's already been set up because like Cisco talked about Hulk and shit that. Yeah, back in early Flash. So they fucked that up years ago. My biggest thing is like you have this bard show up, and now your tone is completely toast. Like this was supposed to be a little grounded, and you wanted Geralt to be this like, I not necessarily like overtly stern and stoic. Like he's not. Henry Cavill plays him like a block of wood, but like at the same time, it's like you wanted to give him the silly sidekick to work him out. Kind of like that's not what you do.
Kind of like with Arnold when he was Conan, they gave him like a stupid little sidekick in one of the Conan movies.
Or like Short Round or whatever with Harrison Ford or whatever with Indiana Jones. And my issue is that when you do that for the sake of it, just to be funny, it doesn't work. Especially like they're getting tied up and they're cracking jokes and shit. And it's like, take this a little more serious. Like we're watching people be murdered like constantly, Game of Thrones style, like consequences to decisions. But it seems like when it comes to those two, there's no consequences to their decisions.
Right.
And this sounds so superficial and dumb, but I 100% believe had they like did a little more contrast in post, like made the lighting like way more dark and brooding, it really could have worked. And then just dial back on the bard shit. But he kind of turned into like the Jar Jar Binks, where some people kind of liked him, so they doubled down on him for a minute.
Just not as racist. Misa nosa.
We'll get there.
I'm saying that character.
Yeah. Man, and again, I cannot get over this. I know it's annoying and people talk about it a lot. You're right with pacing, but when I say pacing, it's just so fucking long. It's not interesting. Like, it's like, oh my God, I don't need to watch these guys walk around because they're not saying anything. Like with Game of Thrones, the first 2 seasons, like a lot of the season was like people walking between castles, like going down the roads. And it felt like it took forever to get to a place.
Like a game of or Lord of the Rings movie, right?
Or Lord of the Rings. I'm fine with that. People are like, oh, they're just walking. I'm like, but interesting shit is happening while they're walking. They're saying cool shit.
No, I've only seen one.
Oh, yeah. I fucking hate you. How have you still not finished those? You're a bad man.
I'm going to do one a year. How about that? At the same day.
I'll be fine with that. Dude, that should be like every 100th episode.
Just so you know, though, Nikki wants to watch the Lord of the Rings movies just so she can go and watch the Hobbit movies.
She'll be so upset. I'm telling you, dude, the Hobbit movies are so bad. Especially if you actually like the originals. There's no way you like the prequels. There's just no way. There's no way. It's just like, because it's so different. Like all the things that made the original trilogy magic, they just do not recapture with this.
Yeah, they use a lot more CG and shit.
It's
a lot more.
They use a GoPro, Michael. I can't get over that. It's the only thing I bitch about all the time. I go, I was done when they used GoPro footage. Not just once. About 3 times in an action scene, I wanted to die.
When they did the roller coaster thing in the first Hobbit movie, remember that?
When they were going to the barrel
through the coal thing.
Oh, that too. That was dumb too. It was all dumb. But
I saw the first Hobbit movie in theaters.
I saw it at home. I just knew it wasn't going to be good. Because Peter Jackson pretty much just said, I don't want to do these. Yeah. And he got forced into them, and I go, that's not a good sign. When the guy's having meetups with his cast at his house, revising scripts because the actors go, I think my character would say this and do that, versus I really don't want to do these movies and they're forcing me to. I'm like, that's not a good sign. But regardless, tangent. Witcher is something that I don't know if I can recommend because, again, with the tone thing.
Yeah.
If you don't like Game of Thrones, you won't like the violence. If you like Xena and Hercules, you won't like the obscure violence and the weird tone shifts and like goofy stuff. If you like the video games and books, let's always be fair. Yeah. Most likely you're not going to like the adaptation. That just kind of comes with the territory.
And for a show called The Witcher, you'd think there'd be a lot more magic happening.
Something. It feels so
or monsters empty. Because you really only see like when monsters a couple times.
When you open the show with a monster.
Yeah.
That's why I was
saying there are
like,
going to be more monsters. They do a genie thing
sure.
once.
And like a wolf looking thing that scared the bard when he was taking a pee.
A wolf thing. Oh yeah.
Like some wolf dog looking thing. And I'm just like, man, like it's so tone deaf. And the characters are really either one dimensional or really bland.
When I was watching, I was like, did he make this choice, or did the director, the creators of the show, make this choice for him?
I think it's a little bit of both, because he seems to actually be a fan of like the video games, and I think he's read the books and like prep for the character.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he's like, Superman's not working out. It needs something.
Yeah, right. I just don't like anything. I really don't like a lot of the production value. It feels really cheap at times and really good at times. The music is awful. The music is horrendous.
I didn't even pay attention to the music. So.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
I was trying to follow the story. I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Who is this person?
Them doing it like out of sequence chronologically just fucks up so much stuff for like a normal viewer. I'm sure that like fans can figure it out, but for a general audience, I'm
like
not
people that don't watch even a lot of TV though either.
Sure.
It's like you're gonna confuse people, especially when they watch one like every couple days and not like back to back.
Within the first week of the show being released, when you're putting out your big advertisement interview pieces about the show and your headline is talking about how Henry Cavill's muscles kept wearing down the leather, I think you might have a problem. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, I know who they're appealing to.
Wow.
And it's like the shot of him in the bathtub shirtless or whatever, and I'm like, okay, you know what you have on your hands.
I see you, Netflix. I see you.
I know what you're doing, and it's fine. Feel free. But I mean, they still make good other stuff that's good and shit. You know, they do cancel a lot of good stuff though. I'm kind of pissed about that. Look, I'm just saying, be apprehensive when you watch it. Do I think it's the most terrible thing I've ever seen? No, obviously not. That'd just be insane. Is it kind of fun? Sure, but it feels like a drag.
It has its moments.
I can't get over the length. That's my biggest problem. If it'd been shorter, I think this could have been good. We're talking like...
Why don't you download all the episodes and edit together and put them in chronological order?
I don't even know necessarily you need to chronologically put them like that, but like maybe not jump around as much and like give us establishing.
Every episode is a different time period, and it's like, you know, they do one episode and Geralt and Yennefer, they like did something.
It sounds really dumb.
And then the next episode it's like 10 years later.
It sounds really dumb, but bear with me here. If you could get the good editors from like season 1 and 2 of Arrow, because I've already compared them with like the fight scenes and shit. Could you imagine if they did an edit like that where their flash forwards or flashbacks were transitions, like Arrow, and you told the story like that? I actually think that would be beneficial. Yeah. Like, I know it sounds corny because obviously everybody's kind of against the CW because it's essentially turned to trash.
What the fuck, CW?
But what the fuck? I honestly think
you forgot
that type of editing
we love you so much.
We love you so much. But what the fuck? I just gotta say, I wasn't feeling it. It's a hell of a grind. It felt like work to watch.
See, I wouldn't even bring it up, but the fact that Netflix is saying that it's like their highest, like most watched show and shit, it kind of like.
So is Stranger Things 2 and 3, man. But like Stranger Things 2 is retarded. It's a terrible season.
I feel though, like of all their things, The Witcher should not be their highest rated show.
I would agree, but
of all the shit. I mean, like 5 days after The Witcher dropped, also the second season of Lost in Space dropped. So it's like,
but how many people are watching Lost in Space? Like, let's be honest. I mean, sci-fi people who want something better than the Star Trek and Star Wars that they're pumping out, maybe.
Yeah. Which Lost in Space is actually pretty good at like creating something new. Like, of course, they're not fucking with the original, like everything else is.
Again, their first season was a lot to be forgotten, but like I've heard very good things about the second season, and I'm not like I still remember the fucking God. Who would have thought we talked about fucking Friends with Joey, fucking Matt LeBlanc being in fucking Lost in Space movie. That movie was terrible, by the way. I remember I went back and watched it last year with Hannah.
I love that movie. The girl.
I remembered it being good though.
When I was a kid, I remember like I was just like amazed and attracted by the girl who played Penny.
I feel you. No,
the hair and everything, and she grew up to be a mean girl.
Oh shit! I'm telling you, man. I liked it when I was a kid. It did not hold up for me when I went back and watched it. I'm like, oh no. So then I was like, oh, I'll watch the show.
I watched it a few years ago, and I was like, I still love this. I have the robot from it.
Danger, Will Roberts, danger. I did like the update on the robot.
Yeah, the robot, they updated them a lot.
I think I might have been cynical when I rewatched it, because that was around my time where I was getting back into Mystery Science Theater 3000.
It was, yeah.
So that could probably have played a hand.
It was Lacey Chabert that played Penny in that one.
Yeah, boy.
She's so hot.
Yeah, boy.
And then they had the one chick that played the older sister, the girl from Austin Powers, I forget her name, and The Hangover. She was also in one of the Heather. Is that her name?
Heather Graham.
I don't know.
Spy Who Shagged Me, the second Austin Powers movie. Yeah, boy.
I think
like Heather
that
Graham.
one. No, it was the first one, wasn't it?
Oh, Elizabeth Hurley played the devil with Brendan Fraser.
Oh no. Yeah, your second one. Yeah. Because the first one, it was his friend's daughter. That's right. Okay.
Gotcha.
Fucking
so
Austin
I would
Powers rehash.
You're welcome. I would have to say with Witcher, if you like the books or video games, most likely you won't like this show. You might like Henry Cavill as Geralt.
I thought about getting one of the books on like audiobook and just listening to it one of these days.
They seem cool. A lot of people talk about them in very high regard. I still haven't finished the Game of Thrones books, and I kind of don't want to until
he finishes them.
He actually finishes them, which probably won't happen.
He saw that last episode too. He's like, "Nah, I'm good. We're done."
If you like Game of Thrones and you like Xena and Hercules, give it a shot. Because maybe the tone mix might work for you.
And for the second season, if you like Power Rangers and...
Fuck, right? I gotta say, it felt all over the place, and it felt like a grind to watch. I don't think it's the most horrible thing in the world if you just want to watch a fantasy show for the sake of it. I think it's fine. The actors are all really pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a superficial show. I'm fine with it. At the same time, I don't know if I would highly recommend it to anyone.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with it.
All right. Well, since we're almost done up here on this one,
over there.
We've been talking about TV most of the day. So I got a question for you.
Oh,
Let's see where we go with this here.
Oh, no.
Episodic TV versus serials. Which one do you like better?
I don't eat a lot of breakfast. So when it comes to
cereals.
Oh, sorry. Okay. My Fruity Pebbles will go back to the shelf then.
I want Fruity Pebbles. I'm hungry now.
So okay, so you're talking more something that has a connected overarching story throughout versus something that's just like a one-off, like maybe like a TNG.
Right. Like TNG was every episode was basically different until later down the line. And then DS9 was more it was one continuous story.
Yeah.
Generally.
Gotcha. So, okay.
Of course,
so
there's 27 fucking episodes in each season.
So now that we made the distinction, what's the question again?
Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer something with a overarching story for that season or for the entire series, of course? Or every episode's different? Kind of like, what is it, 24 or CSI and shit, every episode's different. They still have like a little arc going in them, but they're still all different.
Honestly, that's a good question. I feel like the answer is awful. It's like it's like that idea of like you're asking like what my favorite movie of all time is. There's so many variables to it. Like I love one-off episodes. Okay, so let me see if I can.
So we're not going to talk about like let's subtract things from it. So like your sitcoms, those are always better episodic anyways.
Okay, so you almost killed my anecdote. The idea, okay, so follow me with this. I'm going to kind of word salad talk out of my ass for a minute and see if I can find my point in the middle of it. Is like, okay, you take something like That 70s Show, or I'll just go with That 70s Show, or Scrubs, or Scrubs. Those are episodic. You could just jump into an episode,
right,
and watch it. The problem
the seasons though with those are serial seasons, because there's still like an overarching.
Well, I'd argue
story.
The whole show's an overarching thing. Like from season 1 to 8 is obviously everybody has.
Not season 8.
7. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Good call. Thank you for saving me. God damn, season 8 doesn't exist. There's an arc to all the characters. Everybody goes through transition, and that's just mostly just for the nature.
Oh no, season 8, yes. Season 9.
So 9 was the one when they went
9
to
was the crappy one.
Okay, thank you. That does not exist. So my thing is that you could watch about 90% of the episodes in a season and be fine. It was fun. You could just drop in and be fine. But there's always that episode that if you don't know this character or you don't know the history, you're going to miss a lot.
There was a lot of them where it was like wherever Brandon Fraser's character showed up.
Thank you. That was exactly the episode I was thinking of. His funeral when he's running around.
Taking photos and shit like that.
It's one of my favorite episodes. I cry every time like a fucking bitch. And without the overarching story, that will not hit somebody as hard. You can probably get the empathetic human elements out of it, just out of the basic, the way that we all live. But the emotional connection that these actual characters have is not there unless you have seen everything.
Right.
So I think when it comes to storytelling, I think the serial aspect is 1,000 times always going to be the thing I recommend. You're going to get more emotional payoffs. It's going to sit with you a lot longer. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to actually have like internal and external discussions about it. Like, did these all fit? It's a lot more fun to have a conversation about things that like, did all the pieces fit?
Okay.
When you put the puzzle together.
Right.
But with random episodic shows, there is a merit to that you can just turn something on and just be entertained. Kind of like a song. I don't need to listen to the whole album to enjoy the song.
Now, how about, and we're not talking anime, shows like Family Guy. Do you think that's better episodic, or do you think shit like that, not necessarily Family Guy itself, but adult or cartoons?
Again, I think the way I said it will still imply.
Okay.
You'll get better, more emotional impacts because you know these characters and where they came from and where they went. But I think with just random ass TV, like 30-minute absolutely but like random episodic works really well. Like Ah Real Monsters or Rugrats or Doug. You just jump into them having a situation. We jump into a day. Here's a day in the life. Here's the problem. Let's solve problem. By end of episode, problem solved. And we all drink a milkshake and go, ha, 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 can't wait for our next adventure. There are merits to that. It's nice to just jump in, not overtly think about all the repercussions, where everything came, where it's all going, blah, blah, blah. At the same time, those could end up being filler episodes that have nothing to do with their character. Maybe the characters act a little differently than they normally would, so that could be jarring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And an entertainment, mindless consumption of media, yes, it's perfectly fine and it's good. In a narrative storytelling that you want eventual payoffs and conclusions for your characters, no, I will always take the serial aspect. Flash is, I still will maintain Flash season 1. And I'll watch it again to maybe make sure I still feel this way, even though I watch it damn near every year. Season 1 of Flash is like pinnacle superhero TV, and I think it's like really good storytelling TV.
Yeah.
They have this overarching villain with the Reverse Flash. You don't know who he is, but he's always this horrible, menacing thing in the background that everybody's looming and they're worried about. It's always in the back of their mind. And even as an audience, you're like, what's he doing? Where's he at? Who the fuck is he? And then when you have a reveal that maybe he was behind something, you're like, oh shit, the plot thickens. But Flash also did these weird Monster of the Weeks. It was just, here's the guy I'm going to fight. I'm going to learn a lesson because I fought him. And that lesson is going to get me one step closer to my end goal of the overarching thing. Mixing those two things together in a nice, seamless way where you don't notice it, I think that's the goal. I think that is the pinnacle of storytelling. Being able to not only let me just drop into an episode and have fun and be entertained, but also if I watch it back to back to back, I get to go home and sit on it and go, oh my God, that was great.
I think a show that did that really well too that I had seen was Fringe.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Fringe did that really well. Like, it was episodic-ish, kind of like X-Files, but they still had that story that they were continuously trying to get to every season. It was really cool. And
I think
multiverse.
Lost did that. I think Lost did that for a while too, until they started getting a little weird.
I never watched Lost. Who's got time for that? Are they on the island? Are they off the island? Who knows?
Are they coming back? What's that? Why is the shark a robot?
Are they really dead? What's going on? I don't know.
Smoke monsters? What?
Honestly, too, if I just spoiled something, I have no clue because I literally don't know shit about this show. Just so we know, are clear.
Show's so retarded. You could have just said anything and it probably could have happened.
Did Billy really do that? Is there a character named Billy?
Billy?
Who the fuck knows?
Sure.
Did you know there was a McDonald's on the other side of the island, right?
God, of course, always, all the time.
Are they in heaven or something, or hell, or purgatory?
So then I gotta ask, because Buffy also, Buffy and Angel, great examples of overarching.
There was
background stuff with episodic.
With Buffy, there was a big story they were telling for the series. Mm-hmm. But most of the episodes were episodic until like the last few episodes of each season, which is where they dove into that main storyline harder, which was really cool. I mean, it was also 90s TV. I don't see people doing a whole lot of that anymore because they're like, we got to tell a long story like this.
There always has to be a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Always has to be a cliffhanger.
Which sucks because Netflix is always doing that. They're always leaving their shows with a cliffhanger and then they cancel them. I'm like, fuck you.
Exactly. Why stop it? Like,
God.
Okay, so then, reverse the question back to you then. Given all the stuff we just talked about, how do you feel? Which do you think is better, worse, maybe a preference?
I will say I like my sitcom style shows to be episodic. Always. Gotcha. Last Man Standing, Home Improvement. Okay. I know I just said 2 Tim Allen shows, but still.
we know your obsession with Tim Allen. It's fine.
Friends, shit like that. But even Friends eventually got like overarching stories throughout. Yeah. Eventually later down the line, not right away.
But I think you can. I think that's a built-in thing just from being on the air for so fucking long.
Yeah. And the characters already, so it's like we gotta do something.
We did these big story arcs. It's like, well, not really. You just naturally progressed as a show for 10 years.
I'll say probably the one show that did it best for episodic, where you really did not need anything else ever, and you could jump right into it, was Seinfeld.
Yeah, I'd agree. Or Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah, because I still randomly turned that on.
Which I've made the argument that's like our generation's Seinfeld.
Yeah. Is it as racy though?
It's probably way worse.
Today's standards, anyways. Our
new Seinfeld is way worse. Our Sunny, Sunny in Philadelphia is insane.
Yeah. But no, I think if I'm looking for a good story to be told, I like the serial style better. Yeah. Serials style. I don't know.
Cereal and milk.
I want there to be a good story in the cereal for me to put my milk in so I can just eat that shit up,
Dude, I love soy milk.
Almond milk. No fucking
Dude,
soy
okay,
milk.
no fucking bullshit. Okay, I was making a soy joke because like that's like the new internet craze is calling people soy boys or whatever.
Really?
Let me tell you,
God, the internet is stupid. We
well,
love you.
because apparently, I guess the joke is that there's estrogen in soy milk. So soy boys, they drink a lot of soy milk. So they
okay.
a little sure. I don't know, but I didn't make the internet. Give me a break. But talking about butts. Almond milk, fucking fight me, internet. Almond milk is fucking superior to any other milk when it comes to cereal. 100%.
Wait, which one? What?
Almond milk.
Yeah.
Just straight up Silk almond milk. I don't care about the brand, but just Silk is the one I know. Almond milk in cereal is far superior than normal ass milk. Fucking fight me.
Just straight almond milk, not like vanilla flavored and all that other shit.
You could do that if you want. You could even get a chocolate one and put it in like
I think the vanilla
your Rice
flavored
Krispies.
one tastes good if you're eating like corn pops.
Oh, dude, I put chocolate soy milk, or god damn it, I did it again. Chocolate almond milk in my fucking Fruity Pebbles. Game changer.
Yeah.
Chocolate and fruity. Oh,
you're a little fruity.
shit,
Maybe
man.
you should be drinking that soy milk.
dude, I was so fruity. Dude, my wrists went limp.
And
I bent over.
You are correct. Soy milk has genistein and diazine, which act like an estrogen.
Boom. Get
within the
That's how you
body.
get give me some big titties.
And apparently, I think it might also be in soy sauce. One or two of those.
Soy sauce?
Yeah.
Oh
It
god,
says.
like fucking like
Soy sauce for Chinese
Oh my
restaurants
God.
and shit. Yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking lie right now. I was like, wow, what a fucking joke. That was great. No, that's actually a thing, and I'm retarded. I'm so retarded. I'm not kidding, man. I had a fucking brain fart. I was like, wow, are you being an asshole right now? That's really funny. I literally we had hibachi the other night, or like a couple of weeks ago, I guess, for my birthday. And god damn it, dude, we had packets of soy sauce all over the place. That's fucking hilarious. And I'm so goddamn dumb. Oh man, oh my goodness.
John.
my
Anyways, get
goodness.
back to answering your question. Yeah, I
Sorry,
prefer
yeah.
serials over episodic based on the content that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Especially like with the more cinematic TV that we're getting, I
Yeah,
prefer that to be serial than episodic.
norm.
Otherwise, it's gonna just be like, all right. I really kind of put The Witcher in both categories.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Well, especially when you're telling it out of order.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's just as sporadic. I would make the argument. I think it's because the way we consume media is completely different now.
Right.
We do it on our time. We can find it on YouTube or streaming service, or we go to our source rather than having to sit down
Yeah.
and wait for it.
Yeah.
That's why, TGI Friday, we all wanted to watch, fucking Family Matters and Sabrina and shit, but we had to sit down on Friday and watch it. Now it's like we get to watch it when we want.
I love how you go Family Matters and Sabrina. Well, Boy Meets World. The white straight guy needs some of that love too, dude. Come on.
Look, I like Boy Meets World. It's fine. Full House.
Full House
whatever.
wasn't on TGI Fridays.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
well,
on like
a citation.
it was on like at 4:30 or 5 in the evenings during the weekday.
Because I know they were after school specials, like with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and shit like that. But like
Yeah.
at the same time, I think they eventually moved over. I could be wrong.
They weren't on ABC.
They were Fox, weren't they?
I believe so.
I think. Okay, fine. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I'm retarded. It's fine.
See how old we are.
God damn, it's awful.
And there is no Fox anymore.
I think episodic is not nearly as rewarding, and people want instant gratification, which you would think would be
Well, you could get
which you think would work with that, but it's like when you have serial stuff, you get the cliffhangers, you get
Yeah.
those weird payoff stingers every episode. People like that. People want that. Oh my god! Like they want to be rewarded. For
I
watching
don't,
the
because
show.
sometimes I just want to turn my TV off, but then it's like, oh my god, I gotta watch the next episode, girl.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but isn't that neat though? Like that idea of like, I want to see the next thing versus like, okay, that was fun. Bye.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, it's really bad and I just want to get it over with.
Fair enough. Yeah. I feel
because
you.
it's like, I need to finish it because maybe, just maybe, the complete story
will make sense.
It will make sense.
It all come together.
Like Batwoman. Like maybe. Just maybe.
Michael, your fucking optimism for that was highly commended for at least the first like 5 episodes. Man, there is no. Come on, man. You have to be on the train now. You're like, this show is shit, but we gotta watch it. Like I'm at a point where I'm like, it's so fucking bad. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's like know.
I'm still like, on the fence. It's got to get better.
How?
We're only 10 episodes in, and one of them was the crossover. So 9 episodes,
Michael!
Technically.
That is the equivalent of me sitting down in front of you and talking to you for about, we'll say just generously, 7 hours telling you a story that makes no sense. And you're like, I don't really want to listen to this, but you sat there and watched it.
I mean,
why?
I mean, the story kind of makes sense.
How?
I mean,
how? Give me something. Anything.
What part of the story, Kate Gain? Dude, okay, here's a question.
Is she a good character? Is she a hero?
In this last episode, they said she's a billionaire. How's she a billionaire now?
How? Because she stole Bruce's money. That's how. Fucking stole everything else. Okay? Do you think she's an actual good person? Let's not even talk.
Oh, God,
no. We'll get to superhero. No. Is she a good person?
Well, in this last episode, they kind of tried to give her a good person vibe.
Kind of tried 8 episodes in.
9.
Not even a good person, dude. She holds people at emotional hostage. She's awful. She's awful. She
I'm
actually assaults people.
If the comic version of Batwoman, because I don't
is
recall,
not that bad.
She's not that bad. She is actually a badass.
She's a military.
I don't remember in the comics them pushing like yeah, she dated. But I don't remember them pushing it as like the agenda in the comics of her being a lesbian.
The thing is that she was an ex-military person who was a badass, who came back and just started doing vigilante shit with the help of her dad through the Crows. That's how she got supplied her weapons.
But didn't she get a suit from Bruce anyways? Is that where she got a suit from?
Maybe. I think she made her own suit. I think everything she was supplied was from her dad in the Crows, if I remember correctly.
Why would she do a bat if she didn't even know she was related
because
to
she was in Gotham. Because she was in Gotham. It was the thing. It was the thing to do.
Dress up like a Joker. Then
yeah, no shit.
Take it back. We're taking the clowns back, bitch.
Okay. So, Jesus. So then.
Anyways, yes. Yeah.
Superhero. Is she even a good superhero?
As in, she saves people, yes.
How? Who?
She just saved a train full of people this week, so you can't ask me that today.
This week! Awesome. Okay, let's go back to the episode where Alfred's daughter, something Pennyworth.
Oh, yeah.
She showed up. They let the guy that they were trying to save die because they fought each other because they were mad about who was going to take him in.
Yeah.
She's let Beth go about 3 or 4 times. How many people has she murdered?
They finally arrested her.
9 episodes in. After she let her go like 3 times.
They did have her arrested once and she got away. She did have her arrested and she got away. Remember? Because they blew up the bridge.
But Kate Kane was trying to not make that happen.
It doesn't matter. It happened.
Yes, it does. It does matter. She was actively trying not to make that happen.
It doesn't matter.
She showed you a picture of 2 people she murdered. She's a murderer, and you're fine with it. It's fine. But then she got mad. She's like, her reign of terror ends now. When she was cutting skin off dead bodies. What? That's what did it for you, not the 6 murders?
That still didn't even stop her.
She stabbed her dad.
She killed her stepmom.
Fucking show is retarded. Fucking show is terrible. Okay, so I went back and saw another movie, the same movie for the second time last night with Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a lovely war film, a World War I film entitled 1917. Have you seen it?
No, I have not. I am busy working.
That's what they all say. I have to tell you,
someone's got to edit a podcast and upload podcasts and
oh yeah. You actually have to do all the hard work. I just sit my fat ass down in a chair and talk to you. Dude, the movie's fucking fantastic.
What's that? You said it's fucking awful.
What?
Awful?
Who would say that?
John, those are your war heroes.
I thought I hated everything. Doesn't John hate everything? I know, internet. It's crazy.
You do.
I fucking love this film, dude. It's the second time I've seen it. And, like, it still sits with you, like, when you're done with it. Like, I remember, it was kind of like, I hate to compare it to this because it's so they're two different levels. But, like, watching Infinity War, after that ending, and, like, everybody dusted and the credits came up, and you just kind of had that moment of, like, you just had to take a moment to, like, take it all in. Twice I watched that film, and I felt that way. It's so good, man. Like, now, I don't want to spoil anything for you because I really do want you to see it. Because I think is it a game changer type film? I would say yes and no. I would say, I think I texted you yesterday. It felt like something... It felt like it did something brand new, but it felt extremely familiar at the same time. Mm-hmm. It was like the mechanics and like the filmmaking process and the actual production of it is just so on another level. It's really special. Like the movie or the word I use constantly to describe this film is special. It's just so special. They try to do the one take thing, and they do a really good job of it. I think there's only like 2 or 3 times where I'm like, it's kind of blatantly obvious they made the transition. The acting is absolutely superb. The production, like set design and all this stuff is like extremely well thought. It's just thoughtful. I love this film. The music is fantastic. I still maintain it was one of the best trailers I've ever seen cut ever. And I'm willing to say ever. I would put it in like, for sure, top 50 trailers ever made. I don't know. When it comes to war, we were talking about it last night for like a minute. You're not a big war movie guy, like at all.
No, not like a massive war film guy. Like I've seen a bunch of them, but I'm not like falling head over heels over any of them.
It's not one that war movies aren't something like you seek out or anything like that. Or maybe. Well,
it depends.
Let's find your barometer. I'm kind of curious. If I said war movie right now that you wanted to pick up and go watch, what would you pick?
I want to see Dunkirk still. I haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Okay. How about something you have seen that you're like, if somebody said I have to watch a war film tonight, what would you pick? And I'm fine with satire. I'd prefer if it was maybe something a little more akin to this.
Right.
Like, I don't need you watching like Larry the Cable Guy's Delta Farce.
Probably Saving Private Ryan. Just because I've seen like almost every fucking movie they've ever had about Pearl Harbor, and I'm over it already.
Yeah, I feel you. Oh, because Pearl Harbor is shit.
I mean, they did Midway. I watched Midway in theaters, and
what'd you think of that?
But that was like right after Pearl Harbor bombing and shit, which was cool.
Okay.
It was all right. The CG was but the story was there.
I didn't see it. I was just kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll see it eventually because I do like war films. Like I'm Saving Private Ryan is obviously always in the discussion. You can't help yourself. Mm-hmm. We Were Soldiers is like my favorite. It's Mel Gibson.
There's what was it? Band of Brothers was the show,
fucking
right?
Great HBO series. Yeah, I think it was like 8 episodes or something.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant filmmaking right there. That's just good shit.
It's TV making. That's not film.
Sure, you know what I mean. Well, you still shoot on film. Suck a dick.
Nope, they didn't. They shot it all on digital.
Band of Brothers, I don't think so.
I'm just fucking with you.
I was like, I would like citation on that, please.
There is no film. Film is an imaginary thing.
Ah, got you. It's a concept.
It's an imaginary construct of everything that you feel you see things on film when really film never existed.
Okay, so
let's wrap it up.
Oh no. Sorry, I was just trying to get my train back on the tracks. I would have to say I like war movies. I think it's because I come from an army family, and I was talking to you about it the other day. It was like, I think war movies were like the superhero movies before superhero movies were big. What do you mean, John? That seems strange. I would go with the idea of like Knights of the Round Table and military. There's this built-in sense of nobility and doing the right thing, and there's hierarchy, like built-in hierarchy. You know that you don't go against an order unless this character has like this character flaw or a strong sense of purpose to have to go against it, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The idea of a hero trope, you could almost argue, comes from military. This idea of honor and duty and nobility and respect and doing the right thing and sacrificing for the greater good. That's all built in. You know, you look at Star Trek, Starfleet, it's a military. You look at Star Wars, the Resistance and the Empire. War movies are always a thing. You just don't notice it. There's always a faction versus a faction. Even Lord of the Rings, the orcs had a hierarchy. Mm-hmm. Kingdoms had hierarchy. It's how it works. And I think because you have that built-in, I guess, character trope, you don't have to spend as much time establishing the character. You get to humanize them as you go along. It's like, well, this is a guy in the military. Unless you give me something to contradict it, he's heroic. He's here for the greater good. Unless you start to have dialogue where he's like, no, I was forced into this. I wish I wasn't here, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know? So I like that. I like that. I like that ideology that's like already pre-established. Now, with something like 1917, you have that, and we're just thrust into this story. And because it's on this one take, I was telling Hannah, it was kind of like the idea of being on a Disney ride, where you just sat in a chair,
but good.
Yeah, and it didn't break down 3 times in 1 week. You get to ride it, and you're just following these characters going through a day. It's like there's barely any cuts. You only see the span of 1 day, which was really refreshing. Especially when we just got off talking about a TV show where it's so chronologically like fucked. You have no idea what's going on. Or like the new Star Wars sequels where it's like, I don't know if we've been together for a week, a month, a day, or a year.
Right.
This is like, it's 1 fucking day and here we go. And it's so simple, which gives you a chance to connect with your characters, connect to the situation, and follow along in a very simple way. And I don't want to spoil anything for you. I'd love to talk more about it after you see it. Yeah, I would very much like to do that.
I'm going to try and make it out when I have time. I can't do it today, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. You would absolutely be doing yourself a disservice if you missed it in the theater. The audio is fantastic. It's like they actually cared like about bullet hits and stuff. I jumped constantly. Like, it feels like it hit you.
You know, like, the last movie, people told me I'd be doing myself a disservice too if I didn't watch it in the theaters. I still haven't watched in theaters.
What was it?
Fuck them. Cats.
What was it? Who said that?
They're like, oh no, you gotta go see it in theaters because it's so bad that you'll enjoy it more.
Fuck that, dude. No. Give me a fucking 6-pack and throw me in front of my TV watching Cats.
I'm like, next time I go to the theater, it's probably going to be seeing 1917. Mm-hmm. I'll probably check out the Bad Boys movie.
I've heard good things.
And then I don't know what else is in there. I've heard both mixed, good and bad about it. But
I'm sure it's terrible.
Like, it's probably the action movie I wanted Hobbs and Shaw to be.
I'd agree. I could be with that.
Because those characters never change either. Like
Bad Boys 2 was so fucking absurd. Yeah. I'm like, just give me more.
The thing is, like people were saying that they haven't really changed much. Like Will Smith still acts like he did in the last movie. I'm like, perfect.
That's fine.
Character.
That's fine.
He's established. You don't have to work on his character now.
Unless I get to watch him grow, I would at least rather him just be the guy I know. Like, let me at least be the guy I know. Star Wars, again, fucking Last Jedi. If you're not going to make Luke Skywalker, like, progress as a character, can I at least see him as he was?
Yeah. Although, in Bad Boys 2, didn't he hook up with Martin Lawrence's sister?
Daughter.
No.
Or was it his sister?
That's nasty,
Gabrielle
dude.
Union?
Yeah, that was his sister.
Oh, no, the daughter was the one with the door. Sorry, my bad.
Damn, ew.
My bad.
Shame,
sorry,
John the
Star Wars.
pedophile.
Star Wars had incest. Give me a break, okay?
Yeah, but not pedophile incest.
Because they're all great.
Anyways, yeah, go on about your movie.
Oof. A big oof. I would just have to say with like 1917 here. So here's the fun part. Like, because I like war movies.
Yeah.
Would I say 1917 is the best war film ever made? Yes and no. I would say the way it's shot is really spectacular.
The filming of it?
Yeah, like the production value,
right.
like the way it was shot.
But not the actual story itself.
The story's fine, all of that. I think it's like I'm arguing what steak was better.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 3 steaks, but like one had a little bit of flavor that was just a smidge different. I'm really arguing about who's my favorite child, or essentially, you know what I mean?
Right.
Something like that. Which I'm sure there's plenty of jokes there. The deal is that with 1917, twice I went in and had an emotional response. I cried constantly, mostly probably because I drink too much soy.
Throwback.
That's called a callback. And they nailed it. And like the fleetingness of human life and war and stuff is really well done in this film. It for some people could be a little slow.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple story. I could see people getting bored, but at the same time, like, I think it's so well shot, like lighting and production and stuff. It's just a fucking great film. Now, we've already talked about Saving Private Ryan, and I brought up We Were Soldiers. Subjectively, if anybody asked, I think Saving Private Ryan and We Were Soldiers are better.
Mm-hmm.
On an entertaining aspect. Now, here are my examples. We Were Soldiers has Mel Gibson, Kevin Kline, actors. Sure, I'll name them off. That's fine. I don't care. My deal is that you have Hal Moore getting new cadets, dealing with them, history, and they cut back to America where the families, like the moms, are putting together like laundry services, and you're watching them receive letters and telegrams of when their men have died. And you, in We Were Soldiers, you get to see the impact of what war does to everyone. 'Cause even like We Were Soldiers, they even show, battle strategies from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great moment. I believe this actually happened in real life because my dad actually met Hal Moore, the guy that it's based on. And there's a book, and the book's fucking fantastic, by the way. This Vietnam guy tried to bayonet Mel Gibson's character, Hal Moore, and he gets killed. He's given the book, like the diary from the guy who tried to kill him, and he wrote to his wife.
Okay.
Saying, like, I'm sorry and blah, blah, blah. That's awesome. I like seeing the humanity of war because it's so shitty that we have to do that, but sometimes it has to happen to make things progress or get people out of stuff. I don't want to get political about anything, but war is a necessary evil from time to time. And I liked seeing a movie depict it from multiple points of view.
Rather than just
while
dude.
still being, while still being entertaining, while still doing all the actiony stuff, while still giving me good editing and filmmaking. Saving Private Ryan is just an action film with a lot of deep character development. You have this platoon or whatever you want to call them, this faction of guys who all have a very strong personality, and you all get to watch them interact and deal with the hardships. But we're with them. We're following them. So we just get the war aspect for the most part with a little bit of Private Ryan's family.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But it's a great film. It's shot well. Obviously, we all know the film schooly bullshit about it.
It's so pretty.
Oh my gosh.
The cinematographer was so-and-so.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Was directed by this guy. It's
no
Best
bullshit,
Picture.
Though. If we're going to do the film school bullshit, Roger Deakins actually did do director of photography shit on 1917. Who's the guy I always give shit about. Because he is fantastic, but it's like the name that everybody brings up.
Yeah.
So I found that kind of ironic for me.
His work is really so funny. Glorious. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm going to do my thesis on him.
Excuse me while I make my PowerPoint presentation about how he's like the greatest cinematographer ever of all time ever, no matter whatever movie he does.
Oh my God.
Like,
you got an A. A+.
I bet Roger Deakins would have been incredible at Hot Tub Time Machine.
And there go all of our film school viewers.
All our friends fucking hate us. Sorry, my dude. My thing is that and obviously I'm going to play the objective card. Subjectively, I will watch We Were Soldiers over both of those films, Saving and 1917. I think 1917 is on a different level, but I think they're three completely different films. Obviously.
I mean, it is.
Obviously. Thank you. I knew you were going to do it. But I'm saying like the style and the depiction of war, and granted, I do appreciate the fact that they're three different wars. Saving Private Ryan's WW2. 1917 is WW1.
Yeah.
Which we really haven't seen that talked about since Wonder Woman. And We Were Soldiers was Vietnam.
Was that Wonder? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Land. Because someone on Twitter was like, how come you don't see any women out? I was like, go watch Wonder Woman if you want to see a woman out in no man's land.
Yeah, you fucking retard.
Yeah. I was like,
but
what are you guys thinking when you say shit like that?
They're stupid. That's why. Identity politics.
The women were back home busting our metal down to make weapons. That's what they were doing.
Like, they're being fucking badasses too while raising kids. God damn it. Like, holy fuck, man. Like, I just do not. Oh my God, I'm about to go on a fucking.
All right, let's go.
No, one sec. No. I can't get over the idea that like people disregard and devalue women during wartime. That's insane.
Yeah.
You could like not only do you need house.
Didn't they do like a movie or a show about like army wives or some shit like that?
It was literally called Army Wives.
Was it?
Okay. Yeah. It was a TV show. I think it was CBS. I don't remember if it was.
Or was that like a reality show?
No, it was an
actual show.
Narrative.
Okay.
It was a narrative.
Okay.
And but again, We Were Soldiers delves into that. Like, we need to clean their uniforms and get their shit ready to be deployed back to them. And how do we keep the community running? And how do we keep our family safe here? And like, how do you way to fucking devalue what these people did? Like, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
The next war movie will just be from the POV of a woman. There you go.
I would watch it. I'm fine with it.
Like, they did a decent job of it when they did. I would recommend the writers and the director maybe from the NASA one that they did with all the women in NASA.
Oh, what was it?
I forget the name of it, but I've seen it.
The three black women who.
Yeah. Well, they created the whole department of just women.
That's so awesome.
And that was a really good movie.
I just don't understand why you devalue gender roles. Gender roles are not a bad thing. No. And can you switch them around? Absolutely. I can fucking do laundry and fucking wash a dish. Like, get the fuck out of here. Ugh. I fucking hate people. They're so close-minded.
All right.
Anyway, so my thing with I love the fact that Saving Private Ryan is this. God, I keep slurring that title for some reason. Saving fucking Private Ryan. Oh my God. It's a World War II action-packed thing. I mean, you're talking Storm and D-Day. You have tank battles, sniper battles, fucking just all kinds of shit going on. And that shows the chaos. And it's kind of like muted colors, too. Like, it's not overly saturated or anything like that. So the style's different. Then you go to We Were Soldiers. It's got a little more saturation in it than normal. But that's because you're talking about huge explosions. Because we're talking napalm. And they were doing Black Hawk helicopter battles. Like, the idea of dropping and reloading soldiers into the battlefield.
Yeah.
At any given time for landing zones in Vietnam. That was really cool. Black Hawk Down is another one that's really cool. That has to deal with like the Desert Storm Kosovo thing or something. I don't quite remember. So I'd recommend that one too, but that one's a little more like cartoony, actiony versus like these three films that feel really respectful.
They should have connected Saving Private Ryan and turned Captain Miller into, like, Forrest Gump's grandpa.
God, you silly goose. Could you almost make the argument that Forrest Gump's like a pseudo-war movie?
It is. Anyway. They have the... Well, it's
they
a
talk
portion
about it.
of it, because they deal with the Korean... Or, no, not Korean.
It's Vietnam.
Vietnam. I always think Korean. We never have been to there. But whatever. I'm just planning for the future one.
If I had to, in my mind, subjectively, I would say We Were Soldiers is my favorite, most entertaining one of all three because it gives me everything I want.
Right.
1917 is this beautifully shot war film that just you get to be very intimate with the ideas of war.
Would you categorize it as a blockbuster film or no? Okay.
No. The explosions are really, like, minuscule. It's so scary.
I hope we don't have to tell people what blockbuster film means.
Yeah.
Basically everything else you see in theaters.
I pretty much if it's a Michael Bay film, it's a blockbuster. If you have more explosions per scene than dialogue, that's a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. I'm just being an asshole, but yeah.
Endgame was a blockbuster.
I guess at the end of the day, just so I don't keep getting derailed and like fucking repeating myself.
Because you keep
1917. Well, you're not helping. 1917 is on a production level fucking fantastic. Nailed it. 2 or 3 little jokey nitpicks in it. I'll talk to you about them when you watch it.
Yeah.
But I think on a manufacturer level, like the way it was created it's special and it was thoughtful and it was beautiful. I love that film.
Okay.
And as a war movie, I'd put it in the top 5 war movies ever made. 100%. So that's where I'm at with that. Hopefully you go see it soon. Now I know we're running long. Do you still have time for one more bitch fest? What do you got?
Let's do it another time.
You want to do it another time?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so
Let's
sad.
end this cast.
Fair enough.
Let's go.
Can I have it? Oh, can I do the thing that we hate?
What's that?
I'm going to give a teaser.
Dun 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 dun.
For the next podcast.
On the next episode of Operation Babble.
We will be talking, as much as I don't give a shit what you think, we are watching and talking about Rise of Skywalker. It needs to be discussed. It will be discussed.
So late in the game, John.
You know, I think
we can do it. We don't have to spend the whole cast on it, but yeah.
But I think it's a good thing because I like the idea that we didn't jump on it immediately. Yeah. It gives me a chance to watch it one more time, which I really don't want to do, but I'm going to because I hate it. And There are so many things to talk
right.
about it, and I'm ready to dissect it like
with that
data.
said,
I want to dissect it like a data. Call me Maddox.
I got my quote for the day. It's from The Big Bang Theory.
No, don't do it.
It's two different people saying this. I have to do it because that's how their fucking quotes are. They're so stupid.
Oh no, don't do it. What are you doing?
It starts off with Penny talking to Sheldon. Well, you know how he is. He's so sensitive and emotional. Sheldon, that's because he drinks too much soy milk.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I guess you're right. I'm going to go drink my soy and almond milk in my cereal. Later, nerds.
You just finished another great episode of Operation Babble. You can catch every episode of Operation Babble on all your audio streaming services, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and more. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Operation Babble. And join the conversation today by searching for the Operation Babble group on Facebook. Links also in the description. Don't forget to find Myke on all social platforms, including YouTube, by searching Myke Shrews, MYKESHREWS. You can find John on Instagram and YouTube via Bald Man Bad. Thanks and have a great day.